Hello, my chariots. Welcome back to another pick a card reading that I have for you today. Today's reading being, what is your person's true hidden feelings at this time? Okay, let's do an energy check-in and see what comes through. I do have 3 piles for you today, but before we go over them, I just want to mention that my Etsy shop is open for private readings. I have a few left. I will be traveling next week, so it might be out of stock for a little after that. So if you're interested, go check out and see what's left, what's available. But I will return when I'm done traveling. I will restock my shop afterwards. Okay? So if we take a look at the piles, this is Kim Kranz's deck, the Wild Unknown Archetypes. That's what we're looking at today. And pile 1, you have this card here called the Vow. All right, so that will be your reading. And then pile 2 for you, we have the Mountain. Okay, so take a look at that. And then pile 3 is the Venom. Okay. All right, so those are the 3 that came out during my shuffle. Do what you need to do, my chariots, to pick your pile. If you're drawn to more than one, that's perfectly fine. That means that there's other messages in the piles that you may need to hear. And if none of them resonate with you, if what I say to you today does not resonate, if your story does not connect with the reading, that's perfectly fine. Take a deep breath and realize that the reading is not for you. Always a reminder that these readings on YouTube are for the collective. They are general readings, so not every reading is always going to resonate, and you have to be okay with that. All right. And if not, you can just go check out my other readings that I've already uploaded, or the other wonderful, amazing readers that we have out there. There are so many in this community, and they all have a beautiful style of their own. So surely you will connect and resonate with one. All right, so let's get to it. Pick your pile, my chariots, and I will see you there. Hello, pile 1. All right, you chose here the card, the Vow. This is going to be your reading. We're seeing what your person's true hidden feelings are. We're doing an energy check-in at this time. All right, but before we get started, let's just take that important moment to center ourselves. So pile 1, if you can take in a deep breath for me. And I just want you to go within, all right? I want you to quiet your mind. I am looking to connect with your intuition so that I can bring you the messages that you need to hear most at this time. So I want you to say to yourself in your mind, I am connected to my higher inner power, and I trust that my highest good is unfolding. All right, so pile 1, you chose this card here, the Vow. All right, so what are we talking about when we're talking about the Vow? Obviously, we're talking about promises. We're talking about an oath. We're talking about contracts. All right, so it could be that your person is thinking about how much they want to be committed to you. I'm looking at the way the hands are here being held in the center. You know, it's an energy about the power of promises, right? The promises that we make to one another. And it's about ceremony. It's about ritual. And it sometimes can be about karma, messy karma, all right? It's possible also that you or your person are already in some sort of promise or contract with another person. All right. So when you see this card, it's a reminder, all right, for us to acknowledge the vows that have already been taken. All right. Whether that is with this person, if it's with someone else, and to revisit those vows. Okay. To see if you need to signify some type of closure that's needed for some of these vows, or a reminder for you to be able to recommit to the vows that you've already taken. All right, so I am going to put this over here, and we're actually going to do a in-depth Celtic spread today regarding your person, so I can see what information I can pull and let you know the messages that you need to hear regarding your person's hidden feelings at this time. All right, so let's take a look. Spirit, this is for pile 1. Can we have pile 1's person hidden feelings at this time? What do we need to know about this connection, Spirit? So we start out with the Hermit. And we have the Empress. And the King of Swords. This is the Six of Cups. And the Ten of Swords. And the Hierophant. Wow. And the Ace of Cups. And the Page of Wands. This is the Seven of Swords. And then let me get a cross card. The High Priestess. All right, and I am going to get one from the Kipper. Message. And I'm going to get one. I think this is Myth and Fire deck. I think this is, pretty sure this is the Myth and Fire deck by Lumiere Mystic. Love her channel. I love to listen to her voice. All right, let's see. Feeling safe. Wow, interesting. All right, let's get started here. It's interesting because we're starting off with the present energy. Now I'm looking at the energy of your person. This is all about your person and their hidden feelings, their true feelings for you. at this time. And what comes through with the Hermit, this is card number 9, and it's also, you know, I didn't mention when I was talking about this card here of the vow, this is card number 54, which reduces to 9, talking about that Hermit energy. Right at the present moment, your person does a lot of soul searching and a lot of self-reflection. I'm actually hearing the message of, you know, this person's really trying to find themselves. And I find what's interesting is that, you know, when you look at this card of the Hermit, and you will usually see, obviously, in the traditional setup, that the Hermit's always carrying this lantern, because the lantern represents that inner light, okay? It represents the intuition. The Hermit is very wise, all right? Virgo energy coming through here for those of you that may resonate with. Soul searching, going within, and because of that, you know, a lot of diving in deep. So, you know, the Hermit's also depicted as, you know, being withdrawn, you know, running or hiding in that cave. So it could be very possible that your person is hiding at the moment. You know, they're hiding, or they're hiding their feelings. So it's one of those. Your person may have ghosted you or disappeared in some way, or is laying low, or the lines of communication are not very open. All right, because they're struggling, and I'll tell you why that they're struggling. They're struggling because I feel that they had to make a decision regarding you, okay, and your connection from a practical, a logical standpoint. All right, and because of that, what's coming through as the cross card, but the High Priestess. All right, and, you know, she is the all-knowing. You know, her symbol, her key word whenever you see the High Priestess is intuition, because she's so intuitive, but it's coming out on the cross, as the cross, I should say, for your person. So this is what's holding your person back, because I feel that they are not following their intuition. I feel that they know what it is. I feel that they're drawn to you, and they know that if they were to follow their intuition, it would be you. It would be the Empress. Okay, so they are very aware of this. You know, we have the Empress coming out here as the conscious energies, external energies. So they know very well who you are. However they see that, you know, they see you as the one, as a perfect match, a divine counterpart, however they want to call it. They see you here as the one. And yet, because of the King of Swords here being in the past energies, I do feel like your person had to make a decision that was based on head versus heart, because this is Aquarius energy coming through here. And whenever I see this king, this is the king that's telling me that they had to make a logical decision, that they had to block their feelings from their heart. So, you know, we're asking today about true hidden feelings, and yes, your person's coming through, shining through, keeping their feelings very hidden, all right? And they took the path of having to be logical and having to be practical. All right. But yet I feel as the King of Swords, they know very much who you are and where they stand, because the King of Swords, that element of air, is about truth and clarity. All right. Hidden, you know, hidden subconscious energies is coming through as the Six of Cups. So here's the soulmate energy, this warm feeling, this sense of being home. There's just, when I look at this card, a very warm, compassionate feeling that I'm getting the way your person sees you. For a lot of you, you can be either a mother or some sort of parent, all right? Because I feel that your person very much feels and admires the compassion within you, the way this, I feel this mother is looking at this child here. The Six of Cups is about nostalgia, and it's about memory. So I feel like they keep these memories of you very close to them, very close to their heart that is basically sort of locked up at the moment when it comes to you. Because for them, it's all about feeling safe. You see this card that came out here from Myth and Fire. You know, they have to keep this faith, keep it safe. I feel like if they were to, you know, I feel there's a need here to bring these feelings out into the open. That's where they do not feel that it's safe at this time to do so. And because when I look and ask the question of how do they see themselves when it comes to this connection, the Hierophant comes out, which is very much the same energy here as the vow. So, you know, isn't that amazing? They see themselves, there is marriage, there's commitment, there's some sort of traditional value that is already, you know, as I said earlier, a promise that's already been made, okay? A promise that's already been made. And the thing is, you know, I look even over here at this final outcome card, they see, you know, this as a missed opportunity with the Seven of Swords here. You know, and look, you know, like this person's looking backwards. So I do feel that there's a lot of nostalgia here. There's a lot of memories. And there's even a 7 over here. And what comes through is this card of the message. I feel like your person often thinks about contacting you in some way, whether that's by phone or a letter. You know, it could be email or something, you know, something of substance, you know. When I feel this card of message, you know, this isn't like just a text of like, hey, what's up? Like, I feel like there's some sort of substance here. Like they need to tell you how they feel, or they need to tell you their side. And even here, when you look, this drawer is opened and there's letters inside. So I almost feel like, you know, this isn't the first time. I feel like perhaps they've contemplated, you know, or drafted conversations or letters already previously where they wanted to send it to you, but they haven't, because again, there's this energy coming through here that they do not feel safe in doing so. Their environment right now shows the Ace of Cups. So I feel that they're, you know, they're working on loving themselves, pile one, you know, and whether they realize it or not, you know, whether they understand what a spiritual journey is or not, you have to be able to love yourself before you can give and receive and share that love with others. So I do feel that they're working on this right now, because I wanted to show, even on the bottom of the Myth and Fire deck, is this card here, sharing divine mission. So I do feel that there's some sort of, you know, spiritual connection or divine mission the two of you are on, you know, and that doesn't mean that that mission has to be with the two of you together. I believe that this is a connection that sparked that, you know, and you both are well on your way to figuring out, you know, understanding what your soul purpose is, your life mission, and your person is doing that right now just as much as you are. Now, their hopes and or fears, the Princess of Wands is coming out. That's the Page of Wands. And what that's showing me is that, you know, there's still this hope here because that fire hasn't died. Look at this Page of Wands, and look at the fire that is surrounded by her. Okay. The fire hasn't gone out. The fire has not died. They still find you very attractive. Okay. Passionately, sexually attracted to you, physically, you know, that desire, you know, that is represented by the Page of Wands, you know, for creation and being creative and expressing yourself, all that fiery feeling, that's still there with this Page of Wands here. And yet the future energies of this connection is showing me the Ten of Swords. right? And that's pain, all right? That is a painful ending. And I just want to clarify this. Can we clarify, Spirit, the Page of Swords? The Six of Pentacles. Yeah, I feel that there's like a pain here that still continues to even move in the future energies of this connection with the Six of Pentacles, because the Six of Pentacles is all about that balance and being able to give and receive, right? And it's being able to do that equally, where both of you are able to give and receive. And I feel that, you know, as far as near future energies, pile one, your person still continues to struggle. All right, because here's the Two of Swords. And this is all about peace, peace within. You know, this is a very emotional, an emotional indecision when we're talking about the Two of Swords. And it's exactly what, like I mentioned earlier with the King of Swords, you know, this is emotional in the fact that it's a head versus heart type of decision. And I feel like even as we move through, you know, near future energies, your person is still struggling with this, which shows me that now is not the time. Now is not the time for this connection. But as far as the true hidden feelings go, your person still thinks about you. They carry that Six of Cups energy. They think, look, you're the Empress. They think about, you know, messaging you or reuniting with you in some way, and yet they're still struggling, because I feel, you know, in order for this to really flow properly, they would have to be able to stand up and make that decision by following their heart. And because of their environment or whatever practical reasons are in place at the moment, they feel that they can't do that. All right. So before I close out the reading, I'm going to just, get you some messages from your person. So let's get messages from your person. I am flattered by your attention. So there's something here where I feel like they're, you know, they are really, how do I say this? You know, they're genuinely, what's the word that I'm looking for? Where's my wand? They're genuinely, like, they love the fact that you do admire them. You know, they know that you value them in some sort of way. You know, that it's not just, you know, something light or something that you take for granted. You know, they really admire the fact of how you feel for them, and they respect that very much. Look at this. I don't deserve you. I am, don't you love that? I am in a soul contract. So you see, it's pretty much following through. You know, they feel that they don't deserve you because they've already made promises to someone else. They feel like they can't break those promises at this point. And yet I feel how much, like there's this feeling that comes through that they never thought someone like you would be interested in someone like them, you know? And obviously, you know, the Ace of Cups is here. So that could go back to self-worth and self-value, that they feel like someone like you, because as the Empress, you know, I do feel like they have you on some sort of higher level here. All right. I learned so much from you. And then on the bottom of the deck, look, you are teaching me how to love. So, you know, I said here on the bottom of the deck is sharing a divine mission. I do believe that this is definitely some sort of spiritual connection. And whether or not you are in contact with this person or you don't feel things are working, you know, the way you think they should, there's definitely something that's going on here that your person is learning from you, you know, and vice versa. You could be learning very much from your person as well. So let's take a look. What should I think, let's do one from Moonology Manifestation, I think this is. See, and look, the two cards, this card flipped over and it says last quarter moon in Scorpio, reveal what needs to be seen. So, you know, I do feel like there's something going on here, and then let your fears dissolve. So feeling safe, you know, your person, they just don't feel safe, you know. They don't feel like it's the right moment to be able to share what it is that they need to share with you. And yet Spirit's sort of calling them out. And that's why that Hermit is here in the present energy, yet the High Priestess is on its side. All right. So let me get a card for you from Power of Surrender. Just what do you need to focus on? So Spirit, what does pile 1 need to focus on in regards to this connection? Inner peace. Okay? Inner peace. Cultivate inner peace on a daily basis in quiet meditative moments. Focus on the stillness within and enjoy this inner refuge. Others will feel your good vibes too, and your life will flow more easily. All right, so pile 1, Spirit's asking you to surrender to inner peace, focus on inner peace. All right, maybe it's time that you breathe, all right, and turn that energy into you. All right, so I'm going to leave the reading here. I hope it resonated with you. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to reading for you again. Bye. Hello, pile 2. All right, you chose this card here, the Mountain. This is going to be your reading. We're doing an energy check on your person and taking a look at their hidden feelings, their true feelings at this time, what messages you need to know. Okay, but before we get started, let's take that moment to focus. So pile 2, if you can take in a deep breath for me at this time. And I just want you to be still for a moment. I want you to go within so we can connect. I'm looking for my intuition to connect with yours so that I can bring you the messages that you need to hear most at this time. I want you to say to yourself in your mind, I am connected to my higher inner power. And I trust my intuition always. So, pile 2, when I think of the Mountain, you know, for me that represents obstacles, challenges, hurdles. So perhaps, you know, you or your person or this connection definitely has obstacles and hurdles to get through. But oftentimes the mountain is about the scent, right? It's the journey to the top and being able to do that, right? Rising to the top. But then with that, and I think that's why, you know, there's this man that's pictured here, almost inside the mountain. And what this is a reminder to not forget the core, the inside of what this mountain, okay, contains. Sometimes we forget because it becomes all about that journey, that race to the top. But then we forget about everything that we're learning, everything that's inside a mountain, you know, those gems, those minerals, everything that's inside. We kind of forget that and put that to the side. So, you know, this is about rising to new heights. It's about overcoming obstacles. But, you know, in the shadow side, it can also represent, you know, competition and trying to win and forgetting about, again, the sole purpose of this journey when you're trying to reach the top. This is number 33. It reduces to 6, which is the Lover's card. All right. And it is about that journey to finding unconditional love. So let's take a look. I'm going to do an in-depth Celtic spread and see what comes through for you and your person. This is the Steampunk Tarot. And let's see what messages you need to hear today regarding this connection. This is for pile 2 spirit, pile 2's person. What are pile 2's person? What are their true hidden feelings? How are they feeling at this moment in regards to this connection? What is it we need to know? Two of Swords, the Ace of Cups, the World, Four of Pentacles, Three of Pentacles, Seven of Pentacles, Five of Wands, Seven of Swords, the Tower, and let me get a cross card, the Wheel of Fortune. One here from the Kipper. Journey. And one from Myth and Fire. Repeating cycles. Wow. Yeah. Wow. 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 Okay. And then let me see. I just want to see here. Yeah. Okay. So it's interesting, pile two. We talked about the mountain, which is definitely that journey about overcoming obstacles, in your life. And, you know, this, just overall glancing at this, your person is really struggling with that. Okay, they're really struggling, and you can see that because of what we start out with here. In the middle, the present energy of this reading right off the bat is the Two of Swords, showing me just the indecision that your person has right now. When I talk about the Two of Swords, it's very much an emotional indecision. This card did come out in pile one. And I told them as well, you know, it's having to make this decision, but really the Two of Swords is that fear of wanting to face reality. So this is really about someone who buries their head in the sand, and they are not able or capable, for whatever reason that may be, to make the emotional decision here that's necessary. All right. I really feel the energy coming through that your person is on a pretty tough journey. Okay. The journey to being able to love themselves for who they truly are. And I did even mention, you know, slightly connected in pile one, that when you are on this journey to finding your true self and loving yourself for who you are, it makes it very difficult to be able to give and receive and love others. Okay, until you can accomplish this, until you can reach the peak in regards to this journey. Okay, until you can rise to the top. Okay. It can be very, how can I say this? It can be very isolated. It can be a very isolated journey. And that's what I'm feeling from your person right now. Feeling a lot of pain and very isolated from the self journey that they are on. They're trying to reach new heights, but because of how difficult it is, they feel like they have the tasks that they have to overcome almost feel surmountable to them at this point. So that's why we're starting out here with the Two of Swords. You know, they know what decisions they need to make, but getting there is very difficult for them. And that's why I feel that this Wheel of Fortune is on its side. You know, the cross card is what hinders or what is the obstacle itself when it comes to this connection. And I feel that, you know, with the Wheel of Fortune on its side, you know, it's almost as if that cycle, you know, because you're looking for the wheel to turn, right? You're looking for this wheel to shift and turn in your favor. And I feel because of some of the choices that this person has made in regards to their life and along this way, that wheel has halted, you know, that wheel has come to a halt. And that is especially pertaining to you and this person when it comes to this connection. This person, pile two, that, you know, your person that I'm reading for here, you know, they've gone through some major tower moments in their life. Pretty painful events, you know, and they feel that where they are now, there's almost this feeling, this energy coming through that they're having a hard time seeing that they could make it to the top of that mountain. All right. The World card shows up here in past energies. Now, that could be just symbolizing for you that this is a connection that is long distance, all right, that you are nowhere near each other, you're worlds apart. But to me, I feel that regardless of how painful this connection can be at the moment, there's still good that came from it. Because what I'm feeling is there's, at least for your person, pile 2. I'm not sure where you are at, but at least in looking at your person, you are a major trigger to them. But your trigger, you know, has caused them to put themselves on this journey. Okay, we have journey here. We have number 10, which represents that wheel of fortune, which is here. It just happens to be on its side. They're trying, you know, they're trying to take this journey of really loving themselves wholeheartedly for who they are, for everything that they've experienced thus far in life. And the struggle, I think, comes when we look at the internal energies or the subconscious energies, is the 4 of Pentacles, which is all about control. So there's still a great deal of fear that this person is carrying with them. You know, they're still holding on very tightly, afraid to step out of their comfort zone. And because of this, this is why this wheel is halted. They continue to repeat the same cycles over and over again. Okay? They're repeating cycles, which causes this journey to just come to an halt. All right? They're not taking the steps. They're not taking the bigger steps to make the decisions that are needed. Okay? So that they truly love themselves for who they are. They're very restless right now, pile 2. And I'm not saying that they don't appreciate you. It's just that there's a struggle here because they are having such a hard time loving themselves. Again, you know, I'm pointing out that it's hard to grasp the feelings that they have for you, because the energies that are coming through here are showing me a lot of conflict, a lot of pain, a lot of frustration, a lot of apathy, not content, very restless in their life. And yet, with the World card here, it is showing me that your connection triggered them in order to actually start this journey. The question is are they going to make the changes that they need to? Or are they still going to move forward in this lifetime and continue to repeat the cycles that they've been, and probably repeating in many past lifetimes as well? Their environment shows me how conflicted they are with the 5 of Wands. When I ask how do they see themselves in this connection, it's the 7 of Pentacles, which shows me they don't know what they want. They have no idea what they want. They're very confused. They feel like they should be further along in life, but they're still not sure what exactly it is that they want. And their environment is showing me just conflict. Whether that's internal conflict within themselves or conflict that just occurs within them and around them in their environment. And I feel like one of their biggest hopes is to be able to move past this loss that they're feeling. You know, the 7 of Swords is showing me like they feel that, you know, there's almost some sort of there's just negative feelings here, whether it's in regards to just integrity or deception, the way they feel about themselves, the way they look at themselves, the way they treat themselves. There's just this loss here, and there's this fear that they don't think that they're going to be able to change that. And yet the future energies is showing me the 3 of Pentacles. And the 3 of Pentacles is about growth. 3s, they are about growth and they're about learning. But they're also about building and teamwork and collaboration And I feel that this is something that your person is yearning for, and yet it's still very difficult for them because of what they've experienced so far and the choices that they've made in life. I feel that for them it's very difficult to compromise with someone else, to be part of a team. Let's clarify this Three of Pentacles. There's this feeling, pile 2, that your person does hold you close to their heart. It's just hard for them to show at this moment in time. You know, I do feel that there's something here with this connection that they do not want to release or let go of, but yet it's a matter of them being able to face these challenges that they are running into as they head up that mountain, right? The Ten of Swords. Yeah, there's pain here. The Page of Pentacles. I feel like the future energies is showing that they want to manifest something new in life. I feel like there's a painful ending that's coming their way. Something's going to, you know, and this Tower moment can be representing that, pile 2. Like, I do feel that there's something painful here. Even on the bottom of the deck, I have the Five of Cups. I don't know for some of you if alcohol is involved. Here in this Five of Cups picture, you know, the word liquor is here. Obviously, we have someone that's intoxicated and the cups are knocked over. So, you know, it could be just choices that they've made in life, you know, toxic, you know, substances and abuse that they can't seem to shake. Gambling, perhaps. It could be things where they're not financially secure, so they don't feel strong enough to make certain decisions, to turn themselves around. But, you know, the Five of Cups in general is that energy of regret and remorse, you know, grieving, it's loss. And then even on the bottom of the deck here, we have the Moon, which is about that shadow side. So, you know, this really right now, your person, if you're watching this and it resonates, they're in their shadow side right now. You know, they're on this journey. They're trying to make it up the mountain, but they're working and moving more in their shadow side because of that fear, instead of trying to inspire themselves and you know, what am I trying to say? In order to rise to new heights and to change, you know, it's almost like they're having trouble pulling themselves out of this like abyss of negative energy that I feel it surrounds them at the moment. So because of that, it's very difficult. And I feel like that's why all these negative cards are coming out and why we're ending with the Moon. You know, the Moon is about the shadow side. It's about cycles. It's about phases. It's about illusions. You know, this is someone that may daydream more than actually putting time into reality and making the changes that are necessary. So let me get you some messages from your person, pile 2. See what messages we have at this time. I want to be more than friends. I am grateful for the spiritual lesson. You and I were too young. I'm starting to understand our connection. And on the bottom of the deck, look at that. I love you unconditionally. So, you know, this is, as I said, the journey to love, all about unconditional love. But man, is this a tough journey for this person. You know, it's very difficult for them. When I look at this, you and I were too young. For some of you, it could be that you guys met when you were young. Not denying that. I also get the energy when I pick up that card that just the connection in itself was just young at the time when you connect it. You know, there's a lot of journey here that needs to still occur. And, you know, this lifetime is still very much a struggle for this person, you know, unless they're able to turn things around. It's almost like I get the feeling that this person has to do a complete 180 in order for perhaps anything to work out in regards to you and this person. So let's get some oracle cards. I'm going to pull from Moonology Manifestation here. See what comes out, if there's anything else. Wow, look at that. Make time for self-love. Last quarter moon in Libra. Yeah, this is all about, you know, honor your feelings. First quarter moon in Pisces. This is all about your person learning to break old patterns, to break bad habits, to let go of things that are really toxic for them and make those changes so that, you know, basically it's almost like this feeling like it's pretty like heavy and ingrained as far as like this could be going on for multiple past lifetimes. And, you know, is it this lifetime that this person on you know, your person on this journey, can they finally make those changes that are going to change the ancestral line, you know, so that others, you know, children don't have to face what this person is facing. So pile 2, what is it that you need to focus on or surrender in regards to this connection at this time? So you need to know, pile 2, you know, if you're questioning at all, like if this reading resonates, and I mean truly resonates, like it totally makes sense, and you're questioning, you know, why doesn't my person love me? Why have they treated me? You really need to understand that this person, as I said, has really come from some pretty hardcore lessons in life, and they're the only ones that are going to be able to make this change. So as hard as it is to hear this, it's not personal against you. It's not that they're choosing to perhaps, you know, treat you badly. And that's the thing, like that's why you know, we talk about boundaries. That doesn't mean as a person you need to take this. I'm just trying to give you a little bit of understanding as to why this person is in over their head when I feel it comes to everything. And what they need to do in order to make these changes. And then that's all on you, whether you want to stick around and be part of that or not. You have your own free will, just like they do, to make the choices that they need to. So what does pile 2 need to focus on or surrender in regards to this connection? Surrender to procrastination. Now is the time to jump on a goal instead of putting it off. Taking action will attract success. And then also on the bottom of the deck for you is surrender to the magic of who you are. We all have magic in us, even in the mundane aspects of life. Remember that you are a magical being with a uniqueness and a worth that come from just being you. So I feel like Spirit's trying to tell you at this point, you know, you need to focus on your own goals. You know, you need to look at yourself, see the magic that's within you, focus on goals, stop procrastinating, stop worrying about this person. This person is on a journey that is meant for them to be on, as hard as that is to hear. And they are the ones that are going to have to make the changes within them if they are going to get to the top of that mountain. Okay? So I'm going to leave the reading here, pile 2. I hope it resonated with you. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to reading for you again. Bye. Hello, pile 3. All right, you chose this card here called the Venom, and this is going to be your reading. You know, today we're doing an energy check-in on your person, looking at their true hidden feelings for you, what's going on, what do they think of the connection at this time, and the messages that you need to hear. All right, but before we get into any of it, let's just take that moment to focus and go within. So pile 3, if you can take in a deep breath. And just be still for a moment. I want us to be able to connect, especially with our intuition. So I want you to say to yourself, in your mind, I am connected to my higher inner power. And I trust that my highest good is unfolding. All right. So pile 3, you chose this card. It's card number 63, and it is called the Venom. Now, this wasn't the most positive card out of all the choices, yet this card fell completely out on its own, so I did leave it. Venom, obviously representing poison or toxin, you know, and when you look at the card, like, you could see the fangs of whatever, you know, this is representing. You know, to me, I want to say that it is in reference to the shadow side, because we're talking about something that is a harmful substance that's either in your world or your person's. You may want to go back and watch pile 2, that these may be linked in some way, although I haven't done the reading yet. I'm not sure. But there's something here where I feel that, you know, there's a chain reaction that's going on here due to something that needs to be identified either in your person's life or your life because of this connection. But let me actually pull the cards, the tarot cards, because I'm very curious to see what comes through. The card itself really represents, and it's number 63, which reduces to 9. So we're back to the Hermit, all right, which was the same energy in pile 1, talking about self-reflection and soul-searching and having to really go within, you know, and identifying perhaps what substance or what is going on in this person's world that's harmful, whether it's relationships, whether it's the person's environment, whether it's their mind, you know, meaning thoughts and words and the way they talk to people or the way they treat people. You know, it could be a vast number of things, but to me it's something that requires some sort of acknowledgement and change. And that's why I'm saying you might want to go back and watch pile 2 as well. But let's take a look and see what comes through in the spread. We're going to do an in-depth Celtic spread. This is the Mystic Dreamer Tarot. This is for pile 3's person spirit. True hidden feelings at this time. What is it that we need to know about this connection? Or what messages do we need to hear? The Knight of Swords. Judgment. The Eight of Swords. The Three of Swords. The Eight of Wands. The King of Swords. The Page of Pentacles. The Three of Cups. The Seven of Cups. The Four of Wands as the cross card. All right, let me get one from Kipper. Concern. And then I drew that card concern, and then my alarm on my phone went off, was making noises. So we have an alarm of concern here. Let's see, one from Myth and Fire. Go the distance. Interesting. And on the bottom of the deck here, we have wearing a mask. So I feel, I'm not sure what's going on with your person here, pile 3, but there's this feeling that coming through that they said or they did something that, because of whatever that was, they feel that you judged them pretty harshly. There's this feeling coming through that they have broken your heart in some way. And they are trying to figure out a way to resolve this situation. And yet I don't feel that this person, I feel like the problem has been from day one where perhaps they were hiding part of themselves. They weren't acting out of integrity here with this wearing a mask. They were hiding who they truly were. And then I'm not sure the scenario. There could be many that resulted. But whatever happened, your person feels at this moment in time that you cannot look at them the same way that you once did, put it that way. And that's a concern to them. Because when we look at this card here, this man is sitting here in this chair and he's looking over at the card of judgment. And judgment for me is a card about spiritual awakening, and yet the energy that's heavily coming through right now is they feel that they are being judged based on something that happened. And it's a concern to them because they feel that that's not who they truly are. And yet I don't feel that, I feel that some of the problem here, perhaps the poison or the problem, was that they weren't very forthright in the beginning when the two of you first connected. So if you look at the present energy that we're starting with, it's the Knight of Swords. All right. So we have the Knight of Swords here with the past energy of the Eight of Swords. And the sword energy is that element of air. It does have to do with the mind, with words, with thoughts. And the Knight of Swords is that energy, like they really want to come forward and say something. Like they really want to come forward to you and get something off their chest, because there's this feeling here like they know inside, and this is coming through like in the internal, the hidden energies, like they realize that they have broken your heart, but I do feel that it's causing them pain as well in however they behaved, okay? And because of that, they really feel like if they were to come forward to you, they feel that you would still like judge them terribly, like, or maybe you wouldn't listen to them, or you don't want to hear what they have to say at this point. And they're trying to figure out how they can go this distance, okay? How they can go the distance and make you understand that whatever happened, they're truly sorry for. And it wasn't their intentions to either hurt you or whatever the scenario was, the way things happened, that wasn't their true intention. This Knight of Swords energy is all about wanting to burst into a room and just, get something off of your chest. It's like they just have something to say, and they really aren't taking, it's the energy of not taking into consideration the consequences of what might happen, if they have this conversation. It's been described as, these are the words, the conversation that can change everything if they were to do this. And the Eight of Swords here is showing me the entrapment. Like this is something coming from past energies where I feel that your person's been thinking about this for a very long time. Like they feel trapped in their head. They can't get this out of their mind. They feel like they know they need to make things right. And yet the cross card is the Four of Wands. So now for those of you, the Four of Wands, here's the 1111 card. If you're looking for that 1111 confirmation, you know, this is about union and celebration, like coming together. And the fact that this is the obstacle right now is showing me like your person realizes that they feel like there can't be a union, that there is no union the way things currently stand. And they feel with this Four of Wands on its side, like there won't ever be a union if they don't speak up soon and try to explain or give you the benefit of, you know, they want you to give them the benefit of the doubt and listen to them. And yet, when I ask the question, how do they see themselves when it comes to this connection? They're coming through as the King of Swords, which is that Aquarius energy. But what they're showing me is when it comes to this connection, they're being very logical right now. They're thinking through this, you know, they're in their mind a lot. They're thinking through this. And I feel like they're presenting all these different scenarios in their mind and the possible outcome of that situation. And because of that, it could be what is holding them back, because, you know, this is someone that's in their head a lot. And if they're envisioning this judgment that you have on them, instead of just going with their heart and moving forward, because the future energy, you know, there's this energy here. You're starting with the Eight of Swords and you're over here in the future energy with the Eight of Wands. And that's that energy of infinity, you know. The eights represent the infinity, that constant cycle that flows and continues. So I feel like there's this energy that's just been flowing and continuing with this person of wanting to come forward. The Eight of Wands is another card about communication. Now it's a fast, rapid type of movement that's here in the future energy. So it is possible that your person may come forward or may reach out to you in some way. It also represents a long distance communication. Long distance or traveling. You know, for some. So it could be also the feeling of your person wanting to travel towards you. But with this being the future energy, I feel like if your person does reach out, it's going to be pretty spontaneous. You know, when you least expect it, or when you're not even, you know, when you're not thinking about it. They're trying, you know, to manifest something, but it's something small. The Page of Pentacles is here. And I do call this page here the mini magician, because they do want to create something new here in the environment when it comes to this situation. I'm feeling, you know, with the hopes and or fears, the Three of Cups is here. They want to reunite in some way. I feel like friendship was let down here when it comes to this group, and this is why this is a concern for them as well. There's this feeling also that they're carrying, that they feel like they let you down even when it comes to friendship. Now, it could be obviously something much more than that. But what I'm saying is I feel like your friendship was an important part of this connection as well. And the final outcome card is the Seven of Cups. And it really shows me like there's this girl that is sitting here and she's like looking up at all the cups, you know, and it's all about like your person's just almost at this point like, what do I do? How do I fix this? I know I need to fix this. I know I need to talk to them and set them straight, and yet, you know, all these things run through their head. Like, will they listen to me? Will they even acknowledge me? Will they shut me down? Will they believe me? Will they give me the time of day? You see what I'm saying? I should have been more honest with them. I know I could have been more truthful with them, and I wasn't. So I feel like all these scenarios are running through this person's head, which is actually, kind of a, and the poison could be like, it's almost a self-sabotage, like I feel like this person is self-sabotaging themselves instead of just standing up and taking action and doing what needs to be done. So like I said before, like, we were talking about poison and toxin, like it's almost like in this case, what I'm feeling is like your person needs to acknowledge the mistakes that were made, but then change that. And yet they're struggling with being able to make that part of the change out of the fear of how they think you look at them at this point. Let me just clarify the Eight of Wands, and then I'm going to get some messages from your person. And I feel that your person thinks about you a lot of time, and I feel that you feel this as well. I almost get this feeling when I look at this Venom card, pile 3, like, you think of the fangs of a vampire, so I almost feel like, not that they're latched on, or they could be, maybe you would tell me that it's true, like you feel them, like they're draining you of your energy, like, so you still feel them in your energetic ring, right, your circle, you feel them, and yet physically in this 3D material world, they're not stepping up and doing anything about it. So I almost feel like there's an energetic vampire that's going on here. Like they don't want to let you go, but yet they're not actually leveling up and taking the steps that they need in order to change this. So let's just clarify this Eight of Wands. The Two of Pentacles. And the Page of Swords. And the Seven of Swords. I think that Seven of Swords showed up in every reading today. And on the bottom of the deck is the Ace of Cups. If they just would have, I feel strongly that they, with this Ace of Cups here, wearing the mask, like I do feel that they have these strong emotions for you, pile 3, that they do love you, and yet whatever happened, it's like somehow, whatever messed things up, caused your person to never actually come forward and tell you how they truly feel about you, So because of that, the Two of Pentacles is here. So I feel like your person's on an emotional roller coaster right now, and that's why, this Two of Pentacles is all about juggling, and this picture really shows the water and the emotion, and I feel how stirred your person is. I do feel with the Page of Swords here, they're watching you, okay? So there's that little mini spy here. So I feel like they're keeping an eye on you, whether you realize it or not. And the Seven of Swords is just showing me how they keep wanting to go back, It's almost like that person that gets stuck in the past. This person is still thinking about the things that happened instead of facing the present now and doing the things to change that, right? Instead of just acknowledging what happened in the past and then taking the action from the present to the future. It's like they're still grasping, they're holding on to these swords that they took, representing, whatever the scenario was that occurred between the two of you, instead of just coming forward now and almost like not clearing the slate, like, they want to clear the slate and start from scratch. And I don't mean by like, okay, forgetting that, but clearing the slate enough that they come forward and connect and talk to you about what happened so that you can move forward. Interesting, right? So let's get some messages from your person. Let's get some messages for pile 3. It's getting darker and darker here, pile 3. The storm, it's about to rain, so I lost my sunshine. What messages does this person have? Oh my goodness. You can't make this stuff up, right? Let's start over. That's the simple way of what I was trying to channel and talk about. Your person wants to start over. They want a clean slate, but yet they know that they need to acknowledge what happened in the past in order to be able to have this clean start. Ooh, look at this. I'm living a lie. So your person's wearing a mask now, and I do feel that's also because they never came forward. They were never honest. They never really let you know how they truly felt about you. Okay? And they've been living this lie because I don't believe those feelings have changed. And that's why they carry this heartache with them inside. We are destined to be together. I will fight for us. Well, that requires talking, right? I don't deserve you. So they're definitely, whatever, you know, they feel like whatever they did or said, again, they know how much it hurt you and how wrong it was. They feel like they don't deserve you. This Judgment card still really stands out for me because I feel like they just think they're being condemned and judged terribly because of the decisions that they made in the past. So I'm going to get some cards here from Moonology Manifestation. So what else, Spirit, do we need to know in regards to this connection? Honor your feelings. I think that came out for pile 2. Yeah, they're, you know, I do feel like they're different. They might connect, but I do feel that as I went through the reading, it's not as connected as I thought, because pile 2 definitely has some struggles going on there. I'm not saying that there's not struggles here. Ooh, why am I shuffling again? I wasn't going to, but I'll pull one more. Wow, trust the universe. Okay, first quarter moon in Aquarius. So trust the universe, honor your feelings. I almost feel like trust the universe, pile 3. If your person does come forward, honor your feelings, honor their feelings, you know, give them a chance. And then let's get one from Power of Surrender. What is it that pile 3 needs to focus or work on at this time in regards to this connection? Surrender frustration. So yeah, you know, if you're frustrated because your person hasn't come forward, I totally understand. I totally get it. Frustration doesn't open any doors. The key to resolving a dilemma or dissolving a block is to take a breath, center yourself, and regroup so you may approach the situation more calmly. So, you know, Spirit is asking if you're frustrated with this person, you know, and then surrender to the dramas on the bottom. No matter how emotionally charged the situation, remain calm and don't contribute to the drama. Staying centered will help resolve the issue more quickly. So pile 3, Spirit's asking you to surrender to drama and frustration, your negative feelings that you have around this person, this situation, and just let it be. Trust the universe, okay? Trust the universe in this situation, and what will be, will be. All right? So I'm going to leave the reading here. I hope it resonated with you. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to reading for you again. Bye.